Charlie Munger spent more than 2 years watching intelligent people make the same mistake, highly educated, hardworking, good intentions, and still poor for decades. Here's the uncomfortable truth he pointed out again and again. Being smart doesn't protect you from staying broke. In fact, intelligence often becomes the trap. Smart people overthink. They wait for perfect conditions. They analyze instead of acting. They believe their intelligence will save them later. Munger warned that this mindset quietly destroys time, and time is the only asset that never comes back. Most smart people don't fail because they lack opportunity. They fail because they delay commitment. They chase complexity. They avoid boring discipline. They confuse knowledge with progress. Munger believed wealth isn't built by brilliance. It's built by avoiding obvious stupidity for a very long time. If you've been almost starting for years, and if you keep learning but never executing, this is why decades pass and nothing changes. And this is where the cycle begins. Charlie Munger often explained that the real enemy of wealth is not failure, it's comfort. And smart people usually earn just enough to feel safe. And that safety quietly kills urgency. They get a stable job, like a decent income, a routine that feels productive, but nothing compounds. Munger warned that early comfort is more dangerous than early struggle. Because struggle forces learning, comfort encourages delay. Most intelligent people believe they'll optimize later. They postpone investing. They postpone risk. They postpone discipline. Years pass. The danger isn't a bad decision. It's making no meaningful decision at all. Munger believed wealth comes from a few uncomfortable moves made early and then repeated patiently. Not excitement, not constant action. Just consistent, boring progress. If your life feels fine but not growing, if your income pays bills but builds nothing, you may already be trapped in the most invisible prison there is. Comfort without momentum. Charlie Munger believed most financial pain comes from psychological blind spots, not lack of intelligence. Smart people trust their thinking too much. They assume they can figure it out later. They believe complexity equals superiority. They search for clever strategies instead of simple truths. Munger warned that this mindset creates analysis paralysis. You keep refining plans. You keep waiting for more data. You keep telling yourself you're being responsible. But wealth doesn't reward perfect thinking. It rewards timely action. Munger often said that the biggest mistake smart people make is believing they need to be right all the time. In reality, you only need to be mostly right and patient while others are debating details. Time keeps compounding for those who are already started. If you've been studying markets for years, if you understand theory, but hesitate to act, your intelligence may be slowing you down, not because you're wrong, but because you're waiting for certainty that never arrives. And that delay has a cost. Charlie Munger often said that what you avoid matters more than what you do. Smart people focus on finding the perfect opportunity. Munger focused on avoiding obvious mistakes, D-depth that grows faster than income, and lifestyle upgrades that steal future freedom, short-term excitement that destroys long-term compounding. He believed most people don't stay poor because they miss big wins. They stay poor because they repeat small, avoidable errors for years. And smart people underestimate this. They assume mistakes are temporary. They believe they can fix it later. But Munger warned that bad habits quietly compound just like money. Overtrading, chasing trends, spending first and investing later. None of these feel dangerous in 1 year. But over 20 years, they become devastating. Wealth isn't built by doing extraordinary things. It's built by not doing stupid things consistently. If your progress feels slow, ask this first. What obvious mistake are you still tolerating? Because avoidance is the foundation of everything that comes next. Charlie Munger believed one mistake keeps smart people poor longer than anything else. And they confuse intelligence with discipline. Being smart helps you understand ideas. Discipline determines whether those ideas actually change your life. Munger watched brilliant lawyers, doctors, and executives earn high incomes and still remain financially fragile. Why? Because they trusted their intelligence to save them later. They believed future income would fix today's bad decisions. But wealth doesn't respond to intelligence. It responds to consistent behavior. Saving isn't hard. Spending less than you earn isn't complex. Investing patiently isn't intellectually impressive. That's exactly why smart people ignore it. They look for strategies instead of systems. They want optimization before consistency. Munger did the opposite. He made boring decisions and repeated them for decades. Same principles, same patience, same restraint. If you want to escape the cycle, stop asking, what's the smartest move? Start asking, what behavior can I repeat for the next Ursa's years? Here's another reason smart people stay poor for decades. They overestimate what they can fix later and underestimate the damage of small mistakes today. Okay. Charlie Munger called this the tyranny of compounding, because compounding works both ways. Our bad habit doesn't feel dangerous. A little debt doesn't feel fatal. A few years of delay don't feel permanent. But compounded over Arster Sanders years, those small decisions quietly destroy wealth. Smart people understand compound interest, yet ignore compound behavior. They assume they'll clean things up once life slows down. Once income rises, once stress reduces, that moment never comes. Munger avoided this trap by acting early and acting boring. He removed obvious stupidity first. No unnecessary debt, no lifestyle inflation, no emotional spending. Before chasing big wins, he eliminated guaranteed losses. That's the real secret. Wealth isn't built by brilliant moves. It's built by not doing stupid things for a very long time. Here's the next trap that keeps smart people poor. They confuse being intelligent with being disciplined. Smart people love complexity. They read books, they analyze markets, they debate strategies. But discipline feels boring to them. Munger understood something most people miss. Intelligence doesn't compound, habits do. A genius who can't control spending loses. An average person with discipline wins. And that's why you see brilliant professionals living paycheck to paycheck, while ordinary people quietly build wealth. Smart people keep searching for the perfect strategy instead of executing a simple one consistently. They want certainty before action, but certainty never comes in real life. Munger didn't wait for perfect information. He waited for enough information, then acted decisively. He picked a few rules and followed them for decades. Not because they were exciting, but because they worked. Wealth rewards consistency, not cleverness. Here's another uncomfortable truth. Smart people are too emotional about being right. They tie their identity to their opinions. So when evidence changes, they don't adapt, they defend. Munger warned about this constantly. He said the human brain is wired to protect ego, not wealth. That's why smart people hold losing investments for years. They don't want to admit they were wrong. They say it'll come back. They say the market just doesn't understand yet. Meanwhile, their capital is frozen. Munger did the opposite. When he realized he was wrong, he exited immediately. No drama, no attachment. He didn't ask, was I smart? He asked, what works now? This single habit saves fortunes. Wealth doesn't reward stubborn intelligence. It rewards flexible thinking. Wealth doesn't reward stubborn intelligence. It rewards flexible thinking. If you can change your mind faster than the average person, you automatically outperform them over time. Here's another reason smart people stay poor. They are paralyzed by fear disguised as logic. They call it being careful. They call it waiting for confirmation. But most of the time it's fear. Munger said this plainly: inaction is just as dangerous as bad action. Smart people can list every possible downside. They see risks others miss, so they wait. And while they wait, opportunities expire. They wait for the perfect entry price. They wait for economic clarity. They wait until they feel ready. But markets don't wait. Life doesn't wait. Munger didn't avoid risk. He avoided unnecessary risk. When the odds were clearly in his favor, he acted even if it felt uncomfortable. Wealth is built by people who can move while still feeling uncertain. If you require total certainty before action, you'll never act at all. Here's another silent wealth killer. Smart people compare themselves to the wrong people. They don't compare progress. They compare appearances. Munger warned about envy more than almost any other bias. He said envy is not only a sin, it's stupid, because envy destroys patience. Smart people see others getting rich faster, different industries, different starting points, different risks, and instead of staying on their path, they switch strategies midway. They abandon compounding to chase shortcuts. Munger never did this. He measured himself against his own past decisions, not someone else's highlight reel. He understood that wealth isn't about speed. It's about survival and consistency. If you avoid envy, you avoid most financial mistakes automatically. The fastest way to stay poor is trying to keep up with people you don't actually understand. Here's another reason smart people stay poor. They overcomplicate everything. Munger always said, keep it simple. Smart people read SIR books at once, analyze URS investments simultaneously, and chase endless. Meanwhile, wealth accumulates quietly through simple, repeatable actions. Save a fixed percentage of income. Invest consistently in assets you understand. Avoid debt you cannot control. Complexity creates decision fatigue. You burn mental energy on choices that don't matter, and eventually you do nothing. Sitting idle, waiting for perfect timing, paralyzed by analysis. You watch opportunities pass. Munger thrived by focusing on what really matters. A few high probability moves done consistently. So if you're smart but broke, look at your life. Simplify, prioritize, act. Wealth favors the consistent, not the brilliant but paralyzed. Amdans by December. If you followed this plan, here's what happens. You're no longer trapped in old habits. You understand your money, your time, and your choices. You see how compounding works for you, not against you. You've learned discipline, delayed gratification, and taken action instead of excuses. Most importantly, you've discovered that being smart isn't enough. Without a plan, without execution, intelligence alone will never make you wealthy. That's why so many brilliant people stay poor for decades. They have ideas, they understand finance, they study investment books, but they never implement consistently. You, however, now have a step-by-step blueprint built from decades of real experience, and you've executed it month by month. Your life has changed forever. Starting next year, all that's left is growth. Compound knowledge, compound income, and compound freedom. Remember, being smart is good, but being disciplined, consistent, and focused is what separates the wealthy from the perpetually broke. That's the truth most people ignore, and now you know it.